Welcome to Moose Plays, everyone. I'm the Liquor Moose, and today we're going to go over Week 2 matchup of Season 3 of the PDL. I'm against Mike, who is captain of Phil's Tits. Weird name, I know, but what can you do? So quickly going over my team. Mega Lop deals a significant amount of damage to every single one of Mike's Pokemon. I went with an Adamant Nature because even at that it still outspeeds his entire team. Mike's team is a little slow if I had to give it one critique, because even just letting Lop run Adamant Nature can easily make the difference between a knockout and a 2-hit KO. It's packing Return, High Jump Kick, Ice Punch because he has both Landorus and Zygarde, but he didn't bring Zygarde this game. And then I'm also bringing Fake Out in the cases where Return or High Jump Kick can't Oko something, so I can get some damage off with Fake Out first. I brought especially defensive Florges to deal mostly with Chandelure and Primarina. I brought like a Cleric set with Wish and Aromatherapy, but no Protect, unfortunately. I elected to go with Toxic instead, in case he needed to go one-on-one against Chandelure, where Moonblast wouldn't do a whole lot of it, like a whole lot of damage. Physically defensive Heatran, Mega Mawile is a pain in the ass, to say the least. So this is by far the best Pokemon that could counter it. Bringing Lava Plume for stab and burn chances, along with Earth Power for coverage that can hit Chandelure without activating Flash Fire, Stealth Rock obviously, and oh god, what was the last move? Will-O-Wisp to try to cripple either Mawile or Landorus. I brought the Dragonium Z, Dragon Dance, Haxorus. It's carrying its best coverage moves, which would be Outrage for stab, Earthquake, and then also Poison Jab for Primarina specifically. I brought a physically defensive Mudsdale because it can deal with the Landorus and the Zygarde actually relatively well, especially after one stamina boost. I gave it a Leftovers this time, as opposed to bringing an Assault Vest. So this time I brought Earthquake and Heavy Slam still to deal damage, and then I gave him Toxic and Protect to try to stall out some turns. Then I brought Azelf. It's a Life Orb Azelf. I know normally you'd probably run a Focus Sash on it, but I just figured Azelf might want the additional power for this game. So then, obviously with the Life Orb, I got to run Nasty Plot with it. And then I just brought like similar to just basically just having the best coverage possible, just like with Haxorus. So it's got Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Flamethrower to complement Nasty Plot and Life Orb. So as far as my leads go, if he led with these middle four here, then I just figured the Heatran would be the best lead out of all of my Pokemon, so I just went with Heatran. And he does lead the Mawile, so I'm really glad to just stay in as Heatran. I spend the first turn getting some Stealth Rocks up as he goes Primarina, so here I just figure I'll go into Florges, tank a hit, which would be most likely Scald. Unfortunately, Mike gets a crit, however that does reveal to me that the Primarina is Choice Specs. So he goes into a Mungus here, and I go for a Wish to try to heal up some HP. However, me not thinking that Mike would just straight up Spore like an Amoonguss normally would, I was anticipating a Poison or a Grass type attack. So I went to Heatran to try to resist either of those. However, he just straight up goes for the Spore and puts Heatran to sleep, which is unfortunate. I probably could have just stayed out here and I could have stayed out here possibly and just try to whittle away the turns. But now that I'm thinking about it, I guess it wouldn't have been good in the cases where Amoonguss, I don't know if Amoonguss can get Leech Seed, but if it can, then that would be a bad time. As I go out into, I believe, Azelf. Yeah, Azelf. I'm trying to just pressure it offensively. However, he goes into Landorus, and I know this is not at all how I want to use my Azelf. Apparently Mike thought that Maya's Elf would be focus sashed, so he was playing around it like that. So he was probably, because I know Mike also withdraws here. I go into Mudsdale just to try to be able to tank here. I know Mike withdraws. I think he was just trying to play around a potential Ice Punch or something. Or maybe he thought he got Ice Beam, which, fun fact, his Elf does not get Ice Beam. So anyways, he went to Primarina, so I go back into Florges. Scalds again. So I recover up. Now here, it's a roll whether Scald can kill or not. So I was under the debate of whether if I survive I should Toxic this or Aromatherapy to try to wake up Heatran, and I end up clicking Aromatherapy just like so that way if I do need to switch out Heatran it could actually do something against Mawile. So unfortunately Scald gets a crit though and the roll doesn't matter. So here I just go into Mega Lopunny. So I'm planning to fake out return onto the Primarina. However, he goes into Mawile, gets the Intimidate off. So I do reveal that I have fake out, but that's no big deal. I can just switch back out into Heatran. Then this is where Mike Mega Evolves and he Play Roughs. However, it does piss poor damage to physically defensive Heatran. Then he brings out some Spice. He brings out Brick Break. Sorry. Not really. Wasn't really anticipating that play. But anyways, I withdraw and go into Mudsdale here because otherwise it's like my next best physical wall to deal with this. So now I have the defense boost. So here I could have Earthquaked, but I almost was certain that his play would be Landorus. But just in case it wasn't, I did want to protect just to guarantee some health back. So he does go into Landorus here, so I probably could have Toxiced. However, I just protected, which is fine. I guess I do reveal that I have it, but I get some HP back. So here's where I established the Toxic Clock. I kind of figured, so I went with the Toxic Clock here because I almost figured that he would set up, because without any setup, this Landorus doesn't really touch Mudsdale, especially with one stamina boost. So I established the Toxic Clock here. And I believe I just go for the Heavy Slam. I wasn't sure if he was going to run Double Dance with both Rock Polish and Swords Dance. So I just went for Heavy Slam to try to just deal some damage to it, anticipating an attack that wouldn't do a whole lot. But he does Swords Dance here. So now here, I'm forced to make a choice. I could have Protect to try to stall out this clock. But either way, this would be dead in 2 turns. Because in one of the turns, I would either go Heavy Slam or Protect. So I could have protected to ensure, but I kind of wanted to protect to like stall out the last turn. I don't really know why I did, but that's what I chose to do. So it doesn't matter. So I clicked Heavy Slam, but he clicked the Z move, and luckily Seavis gets able to tank. So he gets another stamina boost. I Heavy Slam, and the Toxic will kill this. So now I believe he goes into a Mungus here, and I just try to protect to. I just want to see what exactly he wants to do with this Amogus. So seeing that he was gonna go for Giga Drain, I guess I could let it play to let the leftovers go. So seeing the Giga Drain, I figured if that's what he wants to do, and given what an Amogus normally runs, and that my Heatran is still asleep, I could go out into Haxorus and set up in its face, basically, since he can't put it to sleep. So that's what I do. I go into Haxorus, and he does Giga Drain. Doesn't do a whole lot to Haxorus. A little more than I thought a resisted hit would do to it. But anyways, I go for Dragon Dance, and this is where the heat really comes out from Mike. He brought Foul Play, and does so much damage to Haxorus. So now I'm left with a choice here of basically what attack move to do. I could go try to play it relatively safe and go Earthquake in the case. Well, okay. I was debating using the Z move here to try to like deal as much damage as I could to this Amogus. However, there was always the possibility that he could go either Mawile or Primarina, which are immune to Haxorus's Z move. I could have gone Earthquake to just kind of deal a good chunk to this Amogus and be safe on any possible switch-ins. I end up just going for the Z move because without the Intimidate on Mawile, I think I'll be able to still knock it out with Earthquake, even if I do get an immunity. Even if he does switch into my Z move, and the same thing with Primarina, except I would use Poison Jab instead. So I go for the Z move here. Luckily he did stay in, and I actually get a little lucky. I got a crit here. Apparently the max roll was actually 98%. That's what Mike says. I'll believe him. I trust that judgment. So here he goes into Ambipom. I didn't want to fake out. I didn't want him to kill Haxorus yet, so I went to Seabiscuit, and it's able to tank fake out. So I think I just try to stall out to get some more HP with Protects. I'm trying to see what coverage moves it can get, so it gets Return. I think I just end up sacking this because I didn't want this to deal like any amount of damage to the rest of my team. So I went Lopunny here to try to just offensively pressure as much as I could. So High Jump Kick dealt massive damage to anything except for Primarina, but since I knew Primarina was Specs, I was okay with High Jump Kick just chipping it, and then I could KO with Return next turn. Luckily I was able to KO Mawile. So here, I just go into Heatran because it's my best physical wall left with Mudsteel gone and with Mawile gone. I don't need Heatran to check that. So I just go Heatran here, and he goes to the Fake Out, does piss poor damage to it. Gets some leftover recovery. He does use knockoffs to knock off the leftovers. Luckily I do wake up this turn after the 2 previous turns that it was left asleep. I clicked Earth Power here just to be safe and not turn on a potential Chandelure's Flash Fire. So he goes Primarina here. I just decide to sack Heatran. I didn't want anything else to take damage. I'm always a big advocate of sacrificing differential for the win. I'd much rather have a win than just then try to play for differential and lose because of it. So once Heatran goes down, I go Lopunny here. It's an easy return. The min roll was 80, so it was an easy knockout. So again here, it looks like I have the game wrapped up, but again, I was almost positive that he would bring Scarf Chandelure. So again, I needed to sacrifice some differential in order to secure the win. This is a perfect example of it, because you would think that I could just stay in here and attack, but if he's Scarf Chandelure, then it just kills this. So basically, if it was Scarfed, I need to lock it into one move and figure out which of my remaining 3 Pokemon can best challenge it, and if it isn't Scarfed and can like switch up moves, then I just go back into Lopunny as my last Pokemon and knock it out easy. So I just decide to play it safe. I go into Haxorus as like a sack basically, and he does have Psychic. So seeing that he went Psychic, my safest switch in was obviously a Zelf if he was choiced, and it turns out that he was Scarfed, so the Psychic won't do too much to this, and then I will KO back with my own Psychic. It was a really good game. It was just kind of an exhilarating game. It was great to play. Unfortunate that I couldn't aromatherapy up to wake up Heatran. Also slightly unfortunate that that the devastating Drake from Haxorus did get a crit on Mike's Amoonguss. However, I don't think it was that big of a deal because even with Regenerator, I don't think it probably would have just died to his Elf later in the game anyways. So it was well played by Mike. My Week 3 match is against Matt, captain of the London Lux Race team. If you guys have followed my channel for long enough, you know that my games against Matt are always fantastic, so I highly recommend watching the game. So yes, keep your eye on the channel for that battle, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.